children previously found by the court to be dependent and have been with the court since April of this year, 2023. We're conducting a judicial review in lieu of a citizens review panel, periodic review via the internet using Zoom. And we have in attendance the guardian ad litem attorney for the children, Ms. Miller, the attorney for defects, Mr. Skrivanik, their case manager, Ms. Wilcox. Ms. Kimball, I have your name as Lois, and on the screen it says Lulu. Is that one and the same?
Yes, sir. It's just what I go by.
That's fine. If I knew that last time I failed to write it, I try to keep up with that so I'm not dumbfounded. Thank you. But your legal name is Lois, but you ask people to call you by Lulu.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your attorney, Ms. Crane, is present. I have that the father for Baylor, unfortunately, has passed away, and the putative father for Hazley, Danny Hobson Jr., remains incarcerated. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And he never legitimated the child, and he was not married to you at the time of birth or conception, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So did the department attempt any service on Danny Hobson Jr.?
Your Honor, I believe the court, either the adjudication hearing or the 75-day hearing, but I believe it was the adjudication hearing, advised that the department was not required to serve him due to his failure to have legitimated the child.
Yes, that sounds familiar, and I do that on occasions. And then there are times when we do try, if they've been involved, we at least try to give them notice initially, but that's fine.
And I want to say we did try to serve him in, I want to say he's in the Richmond County Jail, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't recall the status of that service, to be honest.
I don't have anything in the file. I don't have any service papers involving him in the file.
Your Honor, can I speak about him, Danny Hobson?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Back when I was pregnant and I lived in Mississippi with him, he beat me and broke my nose and everything. And he's just not a good person to be around.
Well, it sounds like he must know that because he's not around.
Yes, sir. I have paperwork proving that, he's not a good person.
Well, there are several steps that he would have to take before we'd ever even look at him as somebody that could take care of his child that he biologically impregnated you with. But I don't think you need to worry. It looks like he's less interested than we are. He's probably, if he's still in jail, he's probably got more pressing issues on his mind than a baby that he brought into the world a while back, 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Skrivanik, if you'll give us your preliminary report from which we will move forward and subject Ms. Wilcox to a thorough and sifting cross-examination.
Okay. So as to the mother, Your Honor, the department reports that she underwent her psychological evaluation. That was with Georgia Psychological Associates. That was completed on July 6th of this year. The mother also has undergone a substance abuse assessment. The mother also, her substance abuse assessment was from February 10th, which was actually, I believe, just prior to the children coming into care. The parental fitness assessment was also completed on February 10th of this year. Domestic violence assessment, and Ms. Wilcox I'll have to ask her a question about that, Your Honor. The psychological assessment was done also on July 6th. It was initially scheduled back for May of this year. but Ms. Kimball was incarcerated at that time for, I believe it was charges involving larceny, parenting education, 24 units completed on June 15th, 2023. Level 1 outpatient treatment for Ms. Kimball is ongoing with Georgia Counseling. NA meetings, there's not been any progress from Ms. Kimball into getting herself into NA. I believe that I had somewhere, Ms. Wilcox can correct me if I'm wrong, I might be confusing this case with another one, about there being something about Ms. Kimball having looked for online NA and whether or not that was going to be acceptable to the department.
Sorry, looking for the unmute. Yeah, she inquired about online NA, and we needed to see if that would be suffice for this case.
What did you call the one night? What?
I'm sorry, say it again, Judge.
What are you calling the service that she wants to do online? What are you calling it?
Narcotics Anonymous. You know, like the group Narcotic
Yes,
Anonymous.
NA instead of NA or AA. Yes,
NA.
she wants to do it online.
Mhm.
All right. Well, our accountability courts have been allowing our participants, obviously during COVID, that was the only thing available pretty much. And now some of them have gone back to live. We've let ours, as long as they're a recognized program, we've let them use them. I don't know if y'all run into any problem. Obviously, the more traditional way that we were documenting attendance would be for someone to sign an attendance that they were there that day. But, a lot of the complications with having attendance proof is that the participation is supposed to be anonymous. So some places won't give them anything showing that they were there. As long as I'm okay with it unless the department has, as long as they've checked out that in fact that group does in fact is formally organized and does meet at the appointed time on Zoom or whatever other platform online. Is she wanting to do it on Zoom because of transportation issues? Or do you
Yes,
know?
sir.
Okay.
And
I think it would behoove you to consult with who did her assessment and if she's undergoing any kind of outpatient treatment now, to ask them if they have any concerns about her doing it online versus live. But it is out there. I think you can even do some Celebrate Recovery may also be online as opposed to live.
Celebrate Recovery.
Did I just confuse everything or did I help?
It helps. Thank you.
You didn't confuse me, Your Honor. I got my finger on where I stopped.
Okay.
All right. So Ms. Kimball is also currently in individual therapy as of August of this year, which is with Georgia Counseling. Random drug screens are ongoing. There's not been any progress from Ms. Kimball as to stable housing or stable employment. She has supervised twice weekly visits. Her parental education 24 units, as I indicated, were completed. However, her parenting education provider had recommended that she undergo additional 12 more units as they felt that she had not got completed parenting and needed additional units of parenting education. Her therapist is Ms. Peters. I told you about the online NA. Ms. Kimball was incarcerated and she either pled guilty or was convicted on that larceny charge and has time that she has to serve, and she is serving that on the weekends. The department is trying to find play therapists for Baylor and Hasley at this time. Baylor particularly has a number of behavioral issues, and the department is awaiting assistance from the AmeriGroup coordinator for psychiatric and play therapist information for Baylor. Ms. Kimball has moved back to Monroe County Monroe, Georgia, in Walton County, which is where she is residing with her mother. She started her individual therapy on the 16th of September with Georgia Counseling and had follow-up session. She had a second appointment on the 19th, and then she missed that and had follow-up sessions scheduled for the 22nd and 27th of September. I did not get an update from Ms. Wilcox as to whether or not those were actually attended. Ms. Kimball has continued to have positive drug screens since we were in court, Your Honor. Let me see here when the last time we were in court was. Last time we were in court was in June on the 27th for the 75-day, Your Honor. Since that time, she has had 2 drug screens. She had on the 29th of June a hair follicle screen, which was positive for amphetamines, methamphetamines, and MDMA. She had a missed drug screen on the 25th of July. And then she had another one, a urine screen that was positive on the 28th of July, which was for amphetamines and methamphetamines. There have been no further drug screens since that time due to the department not having an address for Ms. Kimball until she recently advised that she is living with her mother in Walton County. The department is looking at a possible kinship assessment for Mr. and Ms. Ryan for possible placement of Hasley. Baylor's behaviors include verbal tantrums, defiance, having to be redirected on a frequent basis, challenge to authority, and noncompliance. Hasley does not currently have any behavioral issues since we were last in court. It doesn't look like either child has had any medical or dental appointments. Ms. Kimball has been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, unspecified anxiety disorder, and unspecified trauma and stressor related disorder. Her major depressive disorder is recurrent moderate. I talked about the drug screens. The children are in daycare, Big Blue Marble for Hasley and Livingston Academy for Baylor. And Baylor is currently in the Sparks foster home. And Hasley is currently in the Vespa and Fields foster home, I believe. Am I correct on that, Ms. Wilcox?
Yes, sir.
Which child is it, Sparks?
That was Hasley is in the Vespa and Fields foster home. And then Baylor is in the Sparks foster home currently. And the children had to be separated because of the physical and verbal aggression of Baylor towards his sibling and the foster parents being overwhelmed with his behaviors. Visits, as I stated earlier, are twice weekly, supervised. And they were on the weekends. And then as of the 29th of September, those have to be changed because of Ms. Kimball's incarceration that she's serving on the weekends. So the department is working on trying to schedule weekday visitation at this point. Don't have anything about her being inconsistent as to her visitation, Your Honor. Let's see. The department has had discussions with Ms. Kimball about going into inpatient substance abuse treatment. However, she's been resistant to that at this time and wants to continue to do level 1 outpatient treatment. The department is going to be speaking with her treatment provider about her continued positive drug screens. Again, we haven't had a drug screen since July on Ms. Kimball, and due to her whereabouts being unknown and being therefore prevented from having a screener go out and screen Ms. Kimball. The permanency plan is currently reunification. The department is not asking for a change in permanency plan. The department does not currently intend to file for termination of parental rights. And as far as placement change, the department is looking at potentially for Housley, Mr. and Ms. Ryan, if their home checks out. But that will kind of, I don't know if there's been anything further on that. Ms. Wilcox, anything that you wanted to add to what I just reported to the court, or correct anything that I might have misstated?
So the department did go out to the Ryan's home, and the updates were made that we asked of. So now the home assessment just has to be sent up to leadership to see if they're going to approve the home. As far as therapy, she is now getting therapy and level 1 all from Georgia Counseling, and that her therapist and level 1 is, her name is Tamika Summers.
Before I forget, Ms. Wilcox, is all the information relayed in the report by Mr. Scrivonic, was all that true and correct?
Just the corrections that I'm providing now.
But together with your corrections, all of it's true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
I did get an update from the therapist. She does agree she would like for Ms. Kimball to get a sponsor. As far as the level 1, she's going to increase her sessions with her. For now, there should have been 5 sessions, and she's made it to 3 so far. She did provide like excuses as to the 2 missed. Yes, she has been consistent with visitation. I do believe that was all the corrections I had to make.
Ms. Miller, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Ms. Crane, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
These people that you're checking out for possible, I guess, victim kin, or analogous to that anyway, are you proposing to put both kids there or just one of them?
No, sir, this proposal is just for Hazley.
The one who doesn't have the behavior issues.
Correct.
And so Baylor would stay with the Sparks.
Correct.
Did you give notice to this 2 sets of foster parents that they could come to this hearing today?
Yes, sir. I sent a link. I sent the link to both. However, one email bounced back. But yes, I sent notification and I told both of them about receiving.
Well, if it bounced back, how did you give them notification?
That was over, for that particular foster parent was over this weekend. However, the other foster parent was given the link on last week.
Okay.
But both foster parents was told about the hearing.
Well, y'all are required to file with the clerk how you gave notice to the foster parents and when you gave notice, and y'all have gotten pretty uniformly consistent with not doing that. So Mr. Scrivonic needs to jump on y'all, or I'm gonna have to jump on him and y'all. I don't know whether they don't have to come unless you've subpoenaed them, but I worry sometimes that especially somebody who's got their hands full with a child may not know that we're here, because this is one of the avenues they'd have to bring anything up they wanted to bring is at a review hearing. The other thing, what is mom in jail for? What is she doing these weekends? If it was said, I missed it.
Your Honor, it's not larceny. It was theft by taking.
That is
And-
larceny.
Oh, well,
Some states call it larceny. We call it theft by taking. Same
I
thing.
haven't been to
What did you
convicted of.
steal?
I sold my boyfriend at the time. He had got me a car, and I sold it after he passed away. And his son went and took a warrant out on me.
Okay, so you didn't own it, so you could. How did somebody pay you money for something you didn't own? Because you couldn't give him a title.
I had a title. Nobody signed the title part, so I signed it because he bought the car for me back in the day when he was still alive. And
The person on the title was dead, right?
there was no name on there. He didn't. He never. It was only the seller. There was the seller where he bought the car, and
You
nobody's.
can have a title that doesn't have an owner.
So I signed the buyer part.
So
On
what,
top.
how much time did you get to serve on the weekends?
I had to do 10 weeks.
How many have you done?
Two.
2 or 10?
Two. I just started.
2. Okay. What county was this in?
It's Henry.
What court? State court
It's
or superior court?
it's Judge Knight's. I don't know if it's
That's
superior.
state court. That's okay. His office courtroom's right upstairs from me.
I haven't tried to get any trouble or anything, Your Honor. I mean, I'm
Well,
trying.
are you planning to work your case plan to get your children back?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you don't take these drug tests, it's not going to happen. Okay.
Me and my therapist talked about it.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it, but I need you to be peeing in the cup and letting them take the hair samples.
Yes,
Talking
sir.
about it doesn't prove to me that you're clean and sober, because the law says I can't give you your kids back until you have proof that you've been sober for 12 months. And you can't prove that you've been sober for 2 months.
Yes, sir.
So, well, guess what's happening while your kids are there and you're doing your thing? What's happening to your kids? They're bonding with these foster parents. And I want them to bond. Hopefully they're already bonded with you, and I don't want them to forget you. So I'm glad you're doing great about the visits. That's a good one. I have parents who won't even visit their kids. So that's a plus. But we have to know that you're passing drug tests. And I'm very worried with the ones you've already failed after we took your kids, that maybe we don't have you in an aggressive enough treatment to make you successful at quitting and staying quit. These drugs you're messing with are nothing but bad news. And you know that. You see what it's done to your life already.
Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to upset you, but I want to make sure you understand that the consequences for not completing your case plan are not good. Okay? And we've got to have drug screens. And I don't know, she said you were out of pocket. Were you out of pocket in jail, or were you out of pocket just they didn't know where you were?
Me and my mom had gotten into an argument, just like how two household members do. And so I left, but now I'm back at home. She was just stressed, and
How long were you gone?
not long.
Well, a day, a week, a month?
2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Where'd you go?
Just to a friend's house. Just
Did you let Miss Wilcox know where you were?
I told her I was at a friend's house. I didn't tell her the address or anything.
How would she send a drug screen? How would she send a drug screener to screen you if you didn't tell her where you were?
Well, usually she texts me, the drug screening lady. She'll message me, text me the day of the drug test, and I haven't received no text, no nothing.
Well, what was the lady supposed to do? She didn't know where you were to come drug screen you. Were you going to wait until she asked, and then you say, "Oh, meet me on the side of the road, so and so"?
No, sir.
Well, you can do better than this, can't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, and I
You're
am.
going to have to. Now, if she comes today and asks you to pee in the cup, are you going to pass?
Yes, sir.
You promise.
Yes, sir, I'll pass.
Now, when they take the hair follicle, are you going to pass? That checks back 2 or 3 months. And apparently it's been at least a month since you've been drug screened.
The hair screen, no, probably not.
Yeah. Well, one concern I have that just was that your therapist is recommending that you have a sponsor. It's kind of hard to get a sponsor when you're doing a virtual NA meeting.
I've been looking into like the Celebrate Recovery and stuff, like
Okay.
going person, so I mean,
Okay, well, that's what I'm going to say. It's kind of hard to meet a sponsor or mentor without being there in person.
but I think they have tonight too. So
You think what?
I think there's a meeting tonight. I've been researching it and seeing when the meetings were.
Live or virtual?
Oh, live, like
How are
going
you going
there.
to get there?
My mom.
Do you not have a license?
I have a license. I just don't have a car.
Okay.
I'll go to a meeting tonight and start passing my drug test.
Are you having to pay restitution for that car you sold?
Not yet.
But are you somewhere time down the road on probation, you're going to have to pay?
Probably, yes, sir.
How much? They should have told you in court how much it was.
I haven't been convicted of that charge yet.
Well, then why are you serving weekends in jail if you're not convicted?
Because I was on probation before, and then that about what
Oh, so he revoked your probation for that. So you have not gone to trial for the theft.
No, sir. I haven't.
Good.
But I went for
I
my
misunderstood. I thought that's what you said you were sentenced for. All right. So what were you on probation for?
theft by taking.
About the car that you sold that belonged to the dead person?
No, sir. Something else.
What did
Back
you
in,
steal then?
I mean, I was working. I didn't really steal it, but he said that I did. Where I was working at, he owns his own.
How did you get convicted and sentenced for theft if you didn't steal anything?
Because I just pleaded guilty. I was going to take it trial, but I didn't want to get the max sentence because he didn't have no evidence or nothing on me.
They didn't need any. If you pled guilty, they don't need any evidence. They don't need to look at it.
That's why I just pled guilty because
So when did you plead guilty to stealing?
It was like $80 is what he said.
$80 in cash or something that was valued at $80?
In cash. But he didn't, I wasn't on camera.
Well, you don't need to waste your breath and effort remembering stuff about what he did or didn't do. You pled guilty and you got sentenced and then you got your probation revoked. So
because of the warrant thing that my ex-boyfriend's son took out.
Yeah. Okay. I need you to get really focused on working this case plan. You've done some of it admirably well, but the big stuff, because this is a roadblock. This drug use and not having regular drug screens is an absolute killer.
Yes, sir. I'll do better. I promise.
So, and if you have any more drug screens, you're going to have to go to rehab.
Yes, sir.
Not working, are you?
I'm trying to find a job. That's kind of hard.
You're the perfect candidate to
on.
go off to rehab. You don't have a job that you're going to lose. So, but if you fail another drug test, that's what we're looking at. Because we're just spinning our
Yes, sir.
wheels going to see this counselor once a week or twice a month or whatever it is. Okay. And
Yes,
rehab
sir.
is not a guarantee. I've known people who went to rehab and they barely got home before they started using again. So none of them are foolproof, but you can't raise little bitties, especially if one has a bunch of special needs and behavior issues. You can't be focused on them dabbling with these drugs because you're not all together when you're messing with these drugs, and you know that.
Yes, sir.
So, do you know these people that they're checking out the home for?
Yes, sir. And I know her husband. He actually
good
is
people?
specialized. Yes, sir. They're very church going. They're really good people.
Okay.
But her husband is specialized with autistic children, and she was wanting to know if she could try to get both of them so they could be together. But I don't know how that would work out.
Well, we always love to try to keep siblings, brothers and sisters together. So every once in a while, something comes along like this one where behaviors of one just wear out people where we have to resort to splitting them up. I don't like to ever split them up if I can help it. They can certainly talk to Ms. Wilcox about that. Ms. Wilcox, have they ever mentioned being interested in taking care of both?
The Ryans, no, they mentioned Hazley. Unfortunately,
Hazley autistic?
I'm sorry, say it again, sir.
Is Hazley autistic? She
No.
said that they had
No.
experience in dealing with autistic children.
No,
Okay,
we have not had any indications that she's autistic.
okay, good. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Kimball?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So I've got your word, Ms. Kimball. You're gonna get to these NA support meetings, either that or Celebrate Recovery, and document proof of it, get you a sponsor, do your treatment, do your drug tests, make yourself available for drug tests,
Yes, sir.
and keep up your visits like you've been doing.
Yes, sir.
All right. Court finds that the department has made reasonable efforts to initially at the get-go, at the beginning, to avoid removal and are making that to achieve reunification. Does anybody contend there's any material portion of the case plan that has not been implemented?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Can make a finding that that has not happened. Does anybody contend there are any legally required services that the child, the foster parent, or the mother should be afforded that have not been afforded?
No,
No, sir.
sir.
You can
No, Your
confirm on that. The reunification case plans remains in effect and appropriate in the best interest of the child, correct?
Correct.
Visitation remains appropriate.
Yes, sir.
No,
Yes.
no ILP services to talk about. Mom, you have not made as much progress as we would like, or I would like. But you've made some progress. You've done the assessments. Does the department continue, does the department contend, excuse me, that there's been a lack of substantial progress or just deficient progress that needs to improve?
Your Honor, as I indicated, the department was not requesting a change in permanency plan. However, I believe, have a discussion with Ms. Wilcox that, if we come back for the next review date and we're sort of in the same boat, that the department is going to be asking for a change in permanency plan, particularly with the drug screens, as the court has pointed out. Then the whereabouts of the mother being unknown to the department. That's really, it's put about a 2-month gap, a 2.5-month gap into this case that doesn't need to be there.
All right. You could, in your proposed order, you can the court finds that there has been progress, but should have been more progress. The significance of that, Ms. Kimball, we're going to be back in January. This case has been going for right at 6 months. We have a 9-month hearing review scheduled because of the age of these children. Okay. And the reason we have to review them sooner and more frequently at the beginning is because younger children start bonding quicker with their caretakers. And we don't want that to happen. So we've got to keep the pedal to the metal, so to speak, so we can reunify them before they forgot who mommy is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we come back in 3 months, if we've got any more failed drug screens, you might want to bring your toothbrush and your suitcase to go to rehab.
Yes, sir.
And I can't prejudge the case, but the law says we're supposed to reunify these kids or establish permanency. And right now, the permanency plan for your children is reunification with you. So we're supposed to be able to accomplish that within 15 to 22 months. That's very flexible and fluid. And with younger children, it needs to happen sooner than later. Okay. So when we come to that 9-month review and I have a continued big gap in drug screens or continued dirty drug screens, I'm probably going to be asked by DFACS to switch you to what's called a concurrent case plan, where they can go ahead and start looking for other options like adoption.
Passing my drug test.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'll start passing my drug tests.
Yes. I know you're capable. I think you're capable. And I know you mean it when you tell me that. I just want you to know what could come down the pike. I'm not telling you this is a threat, because there may be other reasons. You may be laid up after a car wreck, God forbid, or something where you can't do anything on your case plan. But if it continues going like it's been going, then we've got a problem. Okay. And you've got a problem. So I'm taking you at your word that you're going to tighten up and do what you need to do without any more gaps. And so we won't have to even go there when we're here in January, but we'll be back in January. So that's also important that how long was it after you got mad at your mom and you moved out and were gone for 2 or 3 weeks? How long was it before you let Ms. Wilcox know where you were and how she could reach you?
Well, I let her know whenever I left. I didn't really know where.
You didn't let her know where you were, did you? You told me you didn't.
I didn't know. I let her know that I left my mom's, but I didn't tell her where I was.
That's the point. She's got to know where you are. She may need to come see you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
And if you're in the wind, she can't come see you, and she doesn't have a machine that will find you. There's no parent finder out there. You got to let her know. Okay. You got to let us know, because we send paperwork to you, copies of orders, and we need to know where to mail them to. So what address? Let me see what's in the file. I'm going to tell you what we're using.
Yes, sir.
That's your mom's address, and that's your address.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It's great to have a parent that helps put a roof over your head. Take advantage of it, and don't do stuff to cross her where you feel like you got to leave, or she has to kick you out. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But if you do have to leave, let Ms. Wilcox know, and let the court know, and let your lawyer know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Crane, did you have any trouble finding your client in preparation for today?
I've not had contact with Miss Kimball. I was going to ask if she could do you have an updated phone number? I've sent my contact information, but I haven't heard from her.
Okay. Do you have a phone number?
Yes, sir.
Give it. If you don't want me to hear it, I'll close my ears, and the lawyer needs it. Okay.
Okay. It's
I won't call you. I promise. I can't call people out of court.
Okay. If that changes, hon, do you still have my number and my email address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if that changes, just let me know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You can take an order about our review and those statutory questions we answered. Is there anything else you need me to rule on?
Yes, I need the date in January and the time.
It's already been set and distributed, but I'll be glad to share that with you.
That'd
Again,
be wonderful.
I've got January 9th, 2024 at 1 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock?
1 o'clock. And I assume that's on Zoom. Hold up. Robin says it was set for Zoom. It is. I'm looking at the order. The order was entered on May the 3rd.
Yeah, I think I saw the Zoom link that Robin had sent out for all 3 hearings before. I just didn't remember the date. That's why I wanted to put it in my note, Your Honor.
You must have been out of pocket. Maybe you need to keep us abreast of your movements.
Yep.
And where are you looking to get a job?
Right now I'm I went to Goodwill Careers, and then I went to what Miss Wilcox sent me, atlworks.org.
Okay.
I've visited there and put in applications at restaurants. So it's just with them trying to work with my schedule with visitation, and then everything else going on with my therapy sessions.
Yeah. This is it poses some potential conflicts to take care of all the business involving you and your children and trying to get a job. It might be that a second shift. Monroe is just booming. Every time I go over in that area, there's something new growing, building, whatever. So you ought to be able to find something.
I'm trying to maybe work third shift, maybe.
Mhm.
Miss
Okay.
Kimball, are you in Monroe County or Monroe, Georgia?
Monroe, Georgia,
Georgia, Walton County.
Okay,
over toward Athens, or
okay.
go through Conyers and keep going toward the Holy Land of Athens, and you'll run through Monroe.
Okay. Well, I was going to tell you about some jobs that we're hiring, but I don't think they're quite in your area. So if I have anything else, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll conclude the hearing. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Hunter.
Thank you.